For years, the Subaru Forester has been the more utilitarian choice in the family SUV segment, offering a driving experience centered around its off-roading capabilities as opposed to its bleeding-edge technology. And this all-new 2026 Forester has stuck with that same mantra. As you'll see over the course of this review, while the new car doesn't necessarily push the boundaries with any revolutionary new features, I feel that this is the kind of car that will really come into its own in 10 years' time, when the overwhelming screens and complicated drivetrains of its competitors will all be going wrong. The tried and tested Forester will still be going strong. So let's start with the exterior. Because it is the top spec model, it's got LED lights front and rear, apart from the indicators here at the back for some strange reason. I like the bronze 19-inch wheels that tie into all of the trims in the bumper cladding very nicely. And I like too that they have contrasted the rather interesting purpley blue and bronze color combo with a few black inserts, like the grille at the front, the mirrors, the roof racks, and the Subaru and e-Boxer badges. Another part of the new Forester that has remained reasonably consistent with its predecessors is the engine. Starting at $50,000, there are 3 different models in the new Forester lineup that have the 2.5 litre naturally aspirated direct injection flat 4. These engines make 136 kilowatt and 247 newton meters of torque and are rated at 7.9 litres per 100k. The same 3 trim levels now also come with the all-new e-Boxer hybrid powertrain that Subaru developed alongside Toyota. The combined power output of the hybrid version is 121 kilowatt and 212 newton meters of torque, but it gets slightly better fuel consumption at 6.2 litres per 100k. All new Forester models have Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system and are paired up with CVT transmissions. So again, we kind of come back to the old mantra. The Forester's new powertrains are good and probably quite reliable, but not exactly groundbreaking or class leading in any particular area. Inside, the new Forester, once again, is far from groundbreaking in terms of design, but it is pretty well equipped, especially for the price. It's got fully digital gauges, which I actually think look really great because they've designed them to look like analog gauges, which don't tend to date as much when this car will be old, but it still has all of the convenience and features that come with a fully digital display. The steering wheel feels nice. It's not like proper leather on here, but it still feels good with little 10 and 2 grips up here. The pedals feel nice, and it is very logically laid out with all of your radio controls on one side and all of your adaptive cruise control and sport and intelligent drive mode settings on the other side. The seats, as you would expect, are extremely comfortable. They adjust electronically down here, and you have 2 memory seats, so if you and somebody else will be driving the car, you can program in where you want to sit. Annoyingly, they haven't kept all of the climate controls physical. Only the temperature and the front and rear demisters have a physical button, but of all of the touchscreen operated climate controls I've used, I've found this one to actually be quite good. There's nice big buttons to change the fan speed, to turn it on and off, to turn on your heated seats on both sides. Unfortunately, the seats are only heated, not cooled. And if you tap on this button here in the middle, it gives you a pretty easy to use display to adjust all of your other settings. The navigation system that's built in is developed by TomTom, which again is hardly cutting edge but works just fine. The good news is though, thanks to it having Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you'll probably find yourself with little reason to use the fairly mediocre built-in infotainment system anyway. It is good to have a wireless phone charger down here, however the surface just isn't grippy enough and my phone ends up sliding off around corners. Storage is well thought out though. There's nice big bins in the doors for reasonable size water bottles. There's 2 big cup holders here in the middle, a large center armrest that can fit lots of things in it, and a well-designed glove box. The sun visors have got to be the biggest sun visors I've ever seen in a car, and they extend to cover this extra little bit. That is a good design. There's also a sunglasses holder up here which has no padding in it whatsoever, so it'll probably scratch your sunglasses up. But fortunately, there is a nice big panoramic sunroof up here, although the blind is manual, and because it's so large, it's very hard to push the blind all the way to the back. The back seats are good though, heaps of headroom, heaps of legroom. There's little mat pockets in here which you can put all sorts of things in. There's a couple of charging ports there as well, and nice big door bins over here. No complaints about the back seats. Because the Forester in many ways is kind of like a big wagon rather than a full-size SUV, the roof is a bit lower than most of its competitors, which means that the boot is far from enormous. It's also not helped out by the fact that there is no spare wheel and not much extra storage under here, because of course that's where all of the hybrid batteries are. Naturally, of course, this car's primary feature is its off-roading capabilities. And so we're going to put that to the test with the most difficult off-road challenge that I can come up with. This incredibly steep hill. Going down is of course the easy part. This thing's got fantastic ground clearance, and even though it's only on road Bridgestone Turanza tyres, getting down this hill at 5 k's an hour is easy peasy. But we will really be putting this thing to the test when we try to get back out of here again. So there doesn't appear to be much in the way of options here, so we'll just put it in snow and dirt mode, and I'll give it a bit of beans and let's see if this thing can make it out. So far so good. Wow. Not even breaking a sweat. Not sure why, but for some reason I thought that would be more difficult. Fuel consumption wise, this thing's rated at 6.2. I've been averaging 6.8, which is pretty close, and I mean I do tend to have a fairly heavy foot. As we shall now demonstrate, let's see how quickly this thing gets to 100 k's an hour. There we are. So as expected, with 121 kilowatts at our disposal, it is not an especially quick vehicle, but it has enough power. The safety features are both really good and really annoying. The adaptive cruise control works perfectly at all speeds. Very easy to set with the physical controls here on the steering wheel, but as the car is now demonstrating, even just to take my eyes off the road to look at which button I was pushing to set the cruise control triggered the driver attention monitoring system. The road departure system is annoying because every time you stray across the centre line on a residential street, if it gets a bit narrow, it goes off. But the adaptive cruise is great, the lane keep assist is great, it steers for you, keeps you in the middle of your lane, and on the motorway, this is a very lovely, quiet and smooth car to drive, as you would expect for any modern vehicle. I gotta say, because the electric motor is a lot more effective sort of down low, at these lower speeds, that's where the performance does come into its own. It almost kind of feels like it's turbocharged because there's a bit of a delay and then you just get a nice surge of torque. Naturally, with a lot of CVT manual modes, the gears are really suggestions at best. The pedals, I think, are doing more to impact your engine braking as opposed to what gear you're in. So the drivetrain is certainly adequate. It's not going to set any land speed records nor win any awards for being incredibly fun to drive, but it is powerful enough, efficient enough, and smooth and quiet enough. Handling is pretty good. Naturally, it's a big, tall, heavy car weighing in at 1750 kg, but the all-wheel drive system definitely gives it a sense of sure-footedness on the road. And in New Zealand, where most of our roads look like this, with dips and mounds and sharp turns, the New Forester feels like it's well suited here. And as we saw before, if you need to go off the beaten trail for a spot of camping or skiing, this car is able to handle a few different types of light off-roading reasonably competently. It's very much a jack of all trades and master of none. And so I feel that pretty much summarizes the New Forester. It's not outstanding in any particular area, which does leave it vulnerable to attacks from its competition that are in some cases cheaper to buy or better equipped or more powerful or more fuel efficient. But this car's strengths are its rugged dependability, its tried and tested formula that's unlikely to age poorly or prove to be unreliable, and its easy to use and well laid out interior. If Subaru could just install a better infotainment system with graphics and a refresh rate like that of the gauges, some physical climate controls, and eke a bit more power or fuel economy out of the hybrid powertrain, I think this would be a very solid family car. But what do you think of the New Forester? Let us know down in the comments, and make sure to check out some of our other written reviews on drivelife.co.nz and video reviews here on YouTube. And we'll see you next time.